If you're passionate about your health and you want to make some great changes to your nutrition, or you're already doing low carb and just want to make sure that you can keep doing that and that it's cost effective, and especially if you do want something that's sustainable and affordable. I always say to people, when it comes to changing our nutrition to achieve our goal, no matter what our goal is, it has to be easy, it has to be delicious, and it has to be sustainable so that you can keep doing it. And of course, affordability is a huge part of that, especially in today's day and age. So if you're looking for options that are actually going to make this doable, that's what I'm going to share with you tonight. And of course, if you're ready to take action and make some change, I'm your girl. I'm going to tell you some good things that you can do. So what I'm going to talk about in this webinar, I'll start by giving you an overview of low carb. I know some people have contacted me and they are new to this way of eating, which is absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what low carb looks like, some of the benefits, and also how you can create the perfect plate if your goal is weight loss. And I know for some people, they're doing it for other reasons as well, but I know that for most people, it is about weight loss. So I'm going to talk a little bit about low carb, but then I want to spend most of the time talking about the cost side of things and give you some tips on how you can do it in a really affordable way, strategies that I use and share with my clients. I'll be talking about that secondly. And whenever I'm doing a presentation, I always like to share practical ideas, and I really want to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So I've created this 7-day meal plan with a whole lot of meal ideas, snack ideas that I am going to share with you tonight. It's also going to be included in the workbook. I'm Cheryl, and my company is called Why Weight Academy. So I specialize in weight loss, very passionate about weight loss and low carb nutrition, because eating in a low carb way has helped me maintain my 30-kilo weight loss for 23 years now. So I've been eating this way a very long time. And it's certainly never been easier to eat this way than it is now. There are a lot of products. It's just unbelievable the amount of things that are out there now compared to when I first started all those years ago. And I've done low carb all these years, really for two major reasons. It's yummy and it works. And I know it works because, as I said, I've done it all of these years. So that's why I'm so passionate about low carb. And I've been a coach now for 13 years with this way of eating and seen some incredible results with my clients. So it certainly gives me a lot of faith with this way of eating, and I'm really happy to share that with you tonight. I specialize in weight loss, low carb, keto, also gut health. I have irritable bowel, so that's been a part of my journey. Sugar addiction has been a very big part of my journey. Very passionate about helping other people who have the sugar problem. But I am also a mum of 2 teenagers, so, have to eat in a way that suits the family. That's really important. And I'm an Aucklander, and I have a big mortgage. So all of the budgeting things that I share tonight are things that I do as well, because we've all got to stay on track with costs. And certainly these days, it is very important. So everything that I'm talking about tonight are things that I do. Right. So let's talk a bit about low carb. Why I'm so passionate about this way of eating is that I often say, if you could put in a pill the benefits that this way of eating brings, it would be more powerful than anything the doctor could prescribe. It is truly, truly transformational. It works brilliantly for weight loss. And a key part of that reason is because it really helps you balance your blood sugars. And that's huge. We all know what a challenge type 2 diabetes is and what can happen if our blood sugars get out of control. So eating this way is the most powerful way to balance your blood sugars right from the minute you wake up. And that has a huge flow-on benefit for your health, particularly for your energy levels. So the ability to control your blood sugars with your food is one of the key reasons that I just believe low carb is so powerful and has such an ability to transform health. And what I love about it is it's just real simple food. You don't have to buy fancy supplements. You don't have to subscribe to a certain thing. And it's just real food you can get from the supermarket. And yes, there are some other options that we can get now on special low carb websites, but you don't have to. Everything that I'm going to be sharing with you is available at the supermarket. So it's all about real food. And it's most definitely budget friendly, which is why you're here tonight. But I think the real key benefit of low carb, the underrated benefit, because I know weight loss is huge, but it's controlling inflammation. Now, inflammation is at the absolute core of ill health. It's what, when we are inflamed, that often is the root cause that can lead to so many other health problems. And the wonderful thing about low carb is that because you are eating real food and you're getting your blood sugars balanced, it has a major effect on inflammation. And I've seen incredible changes happen within my clients in a very short time from changing to low carb, particularly aches and pains. Aches and pains, arthritis, gosh, all sorts of conditions have just been really improved and quite quickly from changing the diet. So when we talk about health and the investment in health and how important it is, by being low carb, you are really investing a lot in your health because it's going to help you control inflammation, which is huge. Now, some of the main financial benefits of eating low carb is that when you eat a good meal that's got a high level of protein and high level of healthy fats, you are fuller for longer. So quite simply, you don't have to eat as much. And that's one of the main reasons that it can definitely help you save money, because there's no need to do this constant snacking and eating between meals and feeling hungry. A lot of my clients find that in the beginning, they want to have sort of 3 meals and 2 snacks. And within a very short time, they've managed to cut that right back because they're feeling full. So that is a huge win. It really is easy to eat sustaining meals. And part of the reason of that is that when you add a portion of healthy fats, it keeps you full for a long time. And a lot of the fats are actually very, very reasonable in price. So when you adapt a low carb way of eating and you're not constantly hungry and wanting those snacks, it can make a real difference because you're able to actually stick to good meals. And of course, you're avoiding a lot of the crap in the shops. You know, when you go to the checkout, there's not a lot you can buy. So just simply by cutting out snacking and cutting out hunger, it really can make a huge difference. Now, as I've said, there are a variety of products available now purely because this way of eating works and a lot more people are doing it. So a lot of the products that in the early days of low carb, I had to make myself, things like bread, wraps, anything you wanted to have like that. When I first started low carb, we had to make it ourselves. There were no products available at all. And it involved having to go to the health shop and buy those expensive flours. So it was really time consuming back in the good old days, time consuming and expensive. Whereas now there are a lot of options available. So it just makes this easy. And when something's easy, it's a lot easier to do it in the long term. And we want to do this in the long term, right? Because there's no point making a change, losing weight, reducing your inflammation, feeling amazing, but then not being able to sustain it. And then you'll just gain the weight back. That is definitely what I know you want to avoid. You've got to be able to do something that you can keep doing. It's really important. Okay. So if you are new to low carb, let's just do a really quick overview of what it includes. So in each meal, and I've got an example of meals on the next slide, but in each meal, you really want to include 2 important things, protein and fats. Those are the essentials. Now, of course, you can have as many veggies as you like as well. Just going through each group. So protein has got your meat, your seafood, chicken, all of that. Tofu, vegetarian alternatives. A lot of dairy products have protein. You can also get protein powder as well. I'll talk about that more later. Then, of course, we've got our healthy fats. So nuts, seeds, avocado, high-fat dairy, and good healthy oils, whether that's olive oil, macadamia oil. You want to eat food as real as possible. Now, as I've said, vegetables are all fine. I don't limit any vegetables. I always say to my clients, eat as many veggies as you want, except the yummy ones, the roasted ones, so your pumpkin, your kumara, parsnip. They're not the best choice, especially when the goal is weight loss. And as I mentioned, there's also the flexibility to add in a whole lot of substitutes now, which make it really easy to create some delicious meals, which you'll see in the meal plan. We've got things like low-carb bread. You can get it at the supermarket. There's about 4 different kinds now. Wraps, pasta, rice, the low-carb flours. There's just so many options now. And I always like to tell my clients, let's give ourselves as many things as possible, not to make it too restrictive. Now, you've probably heard of keto, and I have clients who do keto. That's really extreme low carb. So with a ketogenic meal plan, you're cutting back on some of the veggies, and you have to be quite a bit stricter with your level of carbs. A lot of the low carb substitutes are probably a little bit too high. So yeah, I prefer low carb because it just has more options available and it still works incredibly well. And this is just an example. In the middle here, I've sort of put, this is what you want your plate to look like. So we want a nice bit of meat, in this case, some chicken. You've got your veggies as much as you want, and then you're adding in some portions of fat. So it might be a bit of avo, some cheese, mayo, yum, mayonnaise, aioli, pesto. A lot of those kind of sauces are a delicious way to add fat to your meals. And as you'll see on the slide, these are just some example of meals that my clients have. They put in our Facebook group. So there's some nice options there, a pizza and some dinner meals. The food most definitely is really delicious, which is important. And this is just a quote from a lovely lady who did my 4-week program about how it's working for her. She loves it, eating all the yummy things without feeling guilty. And she noticed straight away that her digestion improved, which is brilliant. She found that within a week. She was emailing me to tell me this. She's now just finished week 3 of my program and she's down 4 kilos. So she's really stoked. And I remember in the beginning, she was quite hesitant about eating fats, and she'd been doing a lot of exercise without seeing results. So it was quite a big shift to be open-minded to do this. And she just can't believe what it's done to her body. So that's really exciting for me to see results like that. Okay, let's talk about some action. So I've given you a bit of an overview of what low carb looks like, why it's such a great way of eating. Now let's drill down to some actions and some strategies to just help keep this within your budget and make it affordable. I think the most important one of all is, dare I say it, planning, being organized. There really is no shortcutting this. I mean, I send out suggested plans to my clients, but even when I do that, you've still got to take even another plan and just jig it to make it work for you. And certainly if you make a weekly meal plan, by the way, I'm going to be giving you a template for these in the workbook that I send out tomorrow to help make this process a bit easier for you. Because, of course, if you've got a handout to use, it's a lot easier to get started. But certainly, I would say out of everything, if you're willing to take a step to do this, it's going to be the most important thing you can do to stick within your budget, because it's about just sitting down, creating that plan for the week, especially your dinner meal. And then I always drill it down to a quick daily food plan. So each morning, I'm just looking at my plan there, each morning, I just sit and work out, right, what am I going to eat today? And I'll just quickly go through what leftovers I might have. Have I got some eggs? And that little daily food plan takes me a couple of minutes to do in the morning, but it is absolutely game-changing, because once you've spent that minute or two thinking about it, you don't have to think about it again. And then you're on track. And if you only have a certain number of choices, because you need to stick to a certain budget, you need to be organized to make sure that those good, simple foods are in the house. And there are some really good staple foods that we'll talk about. But having a plan is a thing that if you're willing to do, it's going to make a huge difference. Of course, a shopping plan, I mean, that's not exactly rocket science, but planning your groceries out, looking at what low-carb options you need is going to be very helpful as well. I know a few of my clients have started doing online shopping because they've found that's really helped them stick to a budget. So that's another good thing to consider if you're not already doing it and it's an option where you live. It certainly can help you avoid those temptation buys when you get to the supermarket. And just, I mean, being organized really is everything. not just for your budget, but also for weight loss. It really does make such a difference because, of course, we only have to step out of the house to be bombarded with different food options and yummy, cheap things at the bakery, cheap food that comes at a high price, I must say, when it comes to your health. And having a plan and being organized so that you can stay on track through this world of a whole lot of food being thrown in our face is very helpful. So you'll get those planning templates in the workbook, and hopefully that's going to help encourage you to get started into a good habit of doing a bit more planning. Now, yes, buying frozen definitely helps save money. And the thing that I think is particularly important, I mean, I'm sure you know that vegetables, especially in season, when they're not in season, will be a lot cheaper frozen. But what I really wanted to highlight about this is just how much cheaper you can get your protein. You see, in low carb, what makes our meals pricey is the thing that we need the most, protein. And you can't avoid the protein dilemma. You have to get protein. It's essential for health. It's particularly essential for weight loss. And it's the one thing that you can't afford to miss with your meals. Like you can afford probably, you don't have to add the fats as much, although you will probably be hungry, but you have to have that protein because it fuels your metabolism. And it's not just for your metabolism. Protein is absolutely critical for health. It's really important for your immune system, super important for hormones, and it's massively important to keep your metabolism and your blood sugars balanced. So you can't skimp on protein. Now, buying frozen chicken when you're on a budget makes a real difference. I was having a look at some websites today just to compare. So fresh chicken for 100 grams, like a roast chicken, a whole chicken, works out to $1.10 per 100 grams. Frozen chicken, 61 cents for 100 grams, half the price. It really makes such a big difference. If you're buying fresh chicken breasts, that's $1.40 for 100 grams. Legs are a bit cheaper at 70 cents, but nothing beats frozen, and frozen chicken pieces are even cheaper. So definitely, if you want to stock up on good protein, make sure you keep your eyes open for, especially when the frozen products are on special, because that will be a great way to stock up your freezer with protein so that you've got that protein when you need it. Of course, a lot of the supermarkets, I know at our local Pack and Save, they also have some meats in the frozen section that are also cheaper than fresh. So I think that's the goal with low carb. Keep your eye out for any deals on frozen meat, seafood, or chicken, because if you can get that protein at a more reasonable cost, it's going to be a really key part in making those meals cheaper. Now, with our planning, of course, comes meal prepping. And a huge advantage of low carb is that some of these, especially in winter, like people say that summer's the best season to lose weight, but actually I completely disagree. We are coming into the best time of the year for weight loss, people. I tell you, a lot of my clients get their best results in winter. And I think that's for two reasons. Three. Number one, we're not as social, so we're not going out as much. And if you're at home, of course, home-cooked meals are always the best for your budget and your weight loss. So you're at home, you can make some of these delicious casseroles and soups, those meals that work really well in bulk. And I find that low-carb food actually is even more delicious in winter. Just imagine, and I've got a recipe in the meal plan that I'll be giving you tomorrow, like a beautiful beef stew. If you can buy some of that cheaper chuck meat or the casserole meat, stewing meat that's cheaper, and make a lovely big casserole, you've got that beautiful protein ready to go. And of course, you can freeze portions to have later in the week or in another week or so, which is going to mean you don't have to buy takeaways. Or when other people in the family are having takeaways, which is what happens in our house, they get takeaways once a week, I'll just pull out one of my meals. The things that I love making the beef stew that I'm going to share tomorrow in the book. I also love making like a Thai chicken curry, really simple. When chicken's cheap, getting it in bulk and making a nice big dish and freezing it, because low carb food with fats freezes really well. So casseroles and soups, I've got a couple of soup recipes to share with you. They work brilliantly to cook in bulk really reasonably and then freeze. So I think that is a huge advantage with winter. The other advantage with winter, which I'm definitely feeling today, is that, just as a side note, when it's cold and your body has to warm up, that actually burns more calories. Excuse me. So the process of your body warming up from being cold burns more calories than having to cool down from being hot. And let's face it hardly ever gets that hot here, does it? So the good news is we might be freezing, especially on a day like today, but our metabolism is working harder. So next time you feel really cold, just think how it's stimulating your metabolism and you're burning weight while you stand there freezing. There's always a silver lining. Now, of course, with online shopping, this is a really good way to get things cheaper as well. In the workbook, I'm going to share a couple of options for some clearance websites that have really good deals on supplements and protein powder. Protein powder is a very good way to have a cheap meal, even if you have it at full price. The company that I use, which I've put the link to in that book, NZ Protein, it works out to about $1.40 per serve, which gives you 25 grams of protein. So if you're exercising or you just want a really nice quick meal, a shake with some protein powder, a little bit of almond milk, you could even throw a bit of peanut butter in there for some cheap, healthy fat. That's going to be a really cost-effective meal, and it's giving you a good hit of protein. So I'll share those resources in the workbook, but if you can get things online, from these discount websites, you might just find some good bargains that is going to help you with your budget. There's also, if you're not aware of the Jerry's Bread company, so that's the company that makes all of the low-carb bread, which I really love. It tastes delicious. It's in most of the supermarkets, but actually, if you buy it online and if you get it with a subscription, it's much cheaper. So it's just knowing about options like that. If there's products that you like, if you order it online or get it on subscription and you can get it for cheaper, of course, that is going to be a win. So the more that we can be organized and know what these options are, the better. And of course, the last one I just want you to be really aware of, oh gosh, that was just lightning, is the clearance shops. So, of course, we've got those reduced to clear shops. I know there's a couple in Auckland, and I've seen some great bargains in there for protein. So what I always look out for are any tins of tuna or chicken, just easy protein like that, sardines, anything like that that's easy to stock up on. Also, sometimes they'll have protein bars that might be close to their expiry date, but who cares? They still taste good to me. So I'm always on the lookout for anything like that, any kind of protein that I can get cheaper, because as I've said, that really makes a big difference. There's also shops up here in Auckland like that Cracker Jack shop, and you can get some really good bargains at the Asian supermarket. I'm just looking for an example. I meant to get it. Wait there, I want to show you something. So here's a little tip. One of the low-carb products that's very useful when you're cutting calories and you want to keep your carbs really low, which you may have seen and tried, are the Konnyaku Slendian noodles. So these are available in all the, sorry, it's a bit fuzzy. These are available in all the supermarkets. How can I get that going? These are in all the supermarkets. They're an absolutely brilliant product because they have like 10 calories for the whole packet and really low in carb. And that's actually what I ate when I lost my 30 kilos because I was living in Japan and I used to eat that a lot because I was just cooking for myself. So that product is fantastic, especially if you don't want to feel hungry because it's fiber, so it just helps fill you up. Now, in the shops, that's $4.99, but in the Asian supermarkets, you can get exactly the same thing, and here's an example, for $1.50. So if you like, it's a slightly smaller serving size, but I actually prefer that because I find this one's a bit big and then I have to have only half the pack and then I have to, keep it preserved for the next day. Whereas this one, and you could probably actually halve this pack, it's not that much smaller, but that makes a huge difference. So I got a lot of my clients onto this from buying it who like it because it's so much cheaper at the Asian supermarkets. So that's a really good little tip. Those noodles are brilliant to add to soups or stir fries just to bulk it up so that you feel full. Right. So those are some tips, but I think overall, the most effective thing that you can do in low carb is just, oh, shivers, keeping it simple. So make sure you keep your food simple, and where possible, think of food as fuel. So when you are on a tight budget, it doesn't have to be fancy pants all the time. Just keep it super simple, like you're going to see from the meal plan that I'm going to show you now. You know, real food tastes great when you just enjoy it in its realness. And I think that's a really important way to look at food as your budget, but also in weight loss, because we don't want to keep overstimulating your senses with really highly processed foods and a whole lot of flavors, because your body just doesn't know what to do with it as well. So I think keeping your food simple, adding in the fat so you feel full for longer, are just some really great ways that you'll be able to stay on track eating this way. I mean, look, eggs on toast. Who doesn't love eggs on toast? $2.90. Tell that to the cafes who charge, what, 18 bucks. Okay. Right, so those are some principles just to help staying on track with your budget. Let's do the fun part now. Let's look at food. Let's look at all of these yummy options that you can have over a week that are really cost effective. I've made it so that every day is under $15. And in fact, for the whole 7 days, it only comes to $84. So I think that's pretty good. And as I've said, I do have to prepare meals for my family as well. Of course, my kids aren't going to eat the low carb bread. They would eat normal bread. But a lot of the chicken or the main kind of meats we will share together. So, it's still very family friendly as well. Right. So let's look at day one. So scrambled eggs on toast, my favorite meal, $2.90. And this is using the Jerry's low carb bread. Now, the Jerry's low carb bread is more expensive than normal bread, without a doubt. I mean, a loaf on subscription, I think it's $8.50. In the supermarket, you might pay $10, but that does have 14 pieces in it. So you could get 14 meals out of that. So it's very filling. I find one piece is enough. So when you break it down and look at how you can spread that out, I think that's actually really good value, because it makes such a difference in carbs. I mean, a normal piece of bread has more than 20 grams of carb. Jerry's has 2. So just by swapping out the bread, it can make a huge difference. Now, low carb wraps are another great alternative option, and they have far less carbs than normal wraps, and yet they cost the same. So low carb wraps have been one of the most amazing things in the low carb scene in recent times, because they cost the same, and yet I think that you can get the keto wraps is about how much, 4 or 5 grams of carb, and a normal wrap has 30 grams of carb. So using wraps makes a huge, huge difference. And I love doing a little ham and cheese quesadilla with a bit of sour cream on the top. Soup, of course, as I've mentioned before, is a great option. I've got another soup recipe to share, but this is in the workbook, and it's a lovely chicken and veggie soup, which you can have with a piece of toast. And then for a snack, you could have this yummy chia seed pudding, which is really nice and filling. Chia seeds are also a great source of omega-3 fatty acids. You get a lot of bang for your buck with chia seeds. It's a very cost-effective way to get fat, a little bit of protein, but mostly fat and fiber and omega-3 fat. So chia seeds are really brilliant. And if you mix them with protein powder, which of course tastes quite sweet and yummy, you get a nice little dessert you can have as a snack. To be honest, you could have that for breakfast as well if you wanted to. A lot of my clients have that. It's really popular and works well. Yep. Okay, day 2. So on day 2, I'm suggesting another very popular meal, which is having some low carb cereal. Now, cereal is a category of products that has just absolutely been revolutionized in the last few years, because a lot of the mainstream cereal producers have come up with low carb options. It's just absolutely brilliant. Going back a few years, the only option for low carb cereal were the more expensive brands where you're paying $16 or $17 for a bag. But now you can get Vogel's and it's $6 or $7. And Hubbard's have got a low carb option. So now that the big guys have brought out low carb alternatives, it really makes it so cost effective. And the savings in carbs are huge. You're going to be going from 40 grams down to about 5. Massive difference. Now, the protein yogurt is a great product. You can either use Anchor or Kalo. And if you mix a little bit of sugar-free jam, that sweetens it up a bit. And then you get a lot of serves out of a big tub of yogurt. So that works out really nicely for a breakfast. You can have some baked chicken for lunch. Chicken drumsticks are always really cost effective, especially if you can get them on special. They'll always work out to some nice protein. I'm going to share a recipe with you for a lovely spicy pork stir fry with cabbage that's made using pork mince, obviously, and that works out to just on $5 a serve. Then good old cheese. Cheese is a brilliant snack that's going to give you protein and healthy fats. It's lovely and filling. And I think for a lot of my clients, by being able to have cheese, it really helps them to enjoy this way of eating because it feels really decadent. It's lovely and filling and adds nice flavor to meals. So that's always a popular choice. Okay, day 3, good old eggs on toast again, but this time we'll go for poached eggs. Yum. And for lunch, you could get, again, another wrap and just roll it up. This is a great option if you have to go to work and you need something to take to work, especially if you're working on the run and maybe you don't have access to a microwave or anywhere to sort of heat up food. It's just so easy to grab some leftover chicken, put it in a low-carb wrap with some lettuce, some mayonnaise. Yum. That's going to keep you full. Simple and delicious. Then a nice meal that I'm sharing with you is some yummy meatballs. Now, you could use cauliflower rice if you're looking for a low-carb rice alternative, particularly when cauliflower is at a reasonable price. The other option you could use with something like that are the low-carb noodles if you wanted that. And that's really nice. And on day 3 for the snack, I'm suggesting good old hard-boiled eggs. You can't beat them. Lovely and filling. And I know eggs have increased in price quite a bit in the last year or so, but still, when we look at value and the fact that they're so high in protein and lots of other nutritional goodies as well, I'll still say that an egg is a very good value source of protein, even at their higher pricing. Works out to $1.80 for 2 eggs, which is pretty good for a snack. Okay, day 4. So we're going to do a ham and cheese omelette in the morning. Yum. Then another really easy staple meal, which is so quick and yummy, which a lot of my clients eat because it gives you a nice crunch. And I always call this one like the emergency lunch option when you just need something quickly. You don't want to go to a shop or anything like that. You don't have leftovers, but you just need something that you can grab on the go. Cruskets are perfect for that. So you can just get 3 Cruskets, mix together a tin of tuna with a little bit of mayo, whack it on the top, done. Now, of course, you could add veggies to that if you wanted to. That wouldn't be a problem. But that certainly is really cost effective and yum. As I've said, good old beef casserole works really nicely. And once again, you could have that with the cauliflower rice if you wanted to. Just a little note about cauli rice. I don't eat it, but that's because I have IBS and I find cauliflower is a little bit bloaty. But I know for some of my clients, especially in the beginning when they're getting used to low carb, they really do enjoy, having a curry on something that makes it feel like a substantial meal. So the cauliflower rice is really easy to make. You can actually buy it frozen too, but that's always a nice option to have there if you want it. And then for a snack, I'm suggesting to get some of the protein yogurt and just mix in a little bit of protein powder. How easy can that be? And if you've got a chocolate protein powder, you can mix it into your yogurt and it tastes like chocolate mousse. So that's a real win and it's delicious. Right. Once again, for day 5, you could repeat that cereal option if you like it. I mean, any of the meals you could repeat. Then a lovely, yummy one, which always nice, especially on a cold day, having a toasted sandwich made using the low-carb bread. That's a real favorite with my clients. And then a nice way to do a burger that's just so simple. Like when my family are having burgers, I don't buy low-carb burger buns, but you can. They are available. I'll just grab some lettuce and put the meat patty in that with a bit of mayo, a bit of veg, little bit of gherkin, yum. So that's a really nice, simple option that's really filling that you can have as an alternative if the family's having burgers. Now, these nice and natural protein nut bars are available in the supermarket, and they are actually really nice and low in sugar and quite high in protein. So a lot of my clients eat these bars, and that's a really cost-effective way, much better than eating a protein bar. They're also not as high in protein as a protein bar. So, you could argue if you really need the protein, a protein bar is better, but they're also like a fifth of the price. So these ones are far better when you're on a budget. Okay, so we've got 2 more days left. So I love getting eggs and putting them in bits of ham, and you can either bake that or do it in the pie maker. That's what I do, and that's a really nice little meal for any time of the day, actually, but that's really popular. You can get your wrap and make a pizza. I mean, how yummy is that? And you do not feel like you're on a diet when you are having a pizza for lunch. And that's so easy. You can just whack on whatever leftover meat you might have, whatever veggies you like, and then put a bit of cheese, some grated cheese on the top. Really easy. Then I've got for the dinner a nice roast chicken, which is a great family-friendly meal. You can just buy whatever veggies are in season, of course, and have those and add a nice bit of butter on the top of the veg, which tastes delicious and helps keep you full. So that's a good option. And buying nuts. I always tell people buy nuts in bulk and then measure them out. And a good serving size is 28 nuts. So that works really well for a snack. Okay, so then I thought on day 7, we might combine a couple of meals and have a yummy brunch. Why not? And this one's a slightly more decadent meal. This would be the most expensive one in the week, which would be some nice bacon, a couple of eggs, and then you're going to have your piece of low-carb toast in there. Of course, if you wanted to put some extra veg, if you had that on there at the plate, that's absolutely fine. And of course, that would be a really nice filling meal that would fill you up for breakfast and lunch. And the recipe that I'm going to share with you, which is very popular, is this one for a chicken, bacon, and veggie bake. That was actually one that I made myself. I'm quite proud of that one. So that's the dinner suggestion on day 7, which is lovely and filling and so easy to make. It has to be because I created it and I only do things that are pretty easy. That one's a yummy one. And for a snack, good old dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is a brilliant low-carb option. It's definitely very popular with my clients, and it's a great way, if you do like sugar, to be able to, get on board with low-carb and not feel like you're missing out, because you certainly don't want to aggravate the sugar monster when you're starting a new way of eating. You need to make sure that all of those bases are covered and you've got food that you enjoy and food that's going to meet your emotional needs as well. Okay, so that's a lot of meals there. And of course, I'm not suggesting you have to eat something different for every meal. If I was doing this, I would probably repeat only 2 of those a few times, because it's so much easier to just repeat the meal until you get a little bit bored of it. But I just wanted to highlight what a wide range of things there are available. So you're never going to get bored. And this whole meal plan works out to $84.65. And I've actually been when I've been working out the price, looking at different prices online with the different supermarkets, I've rounded up quite often. So it's more likely to be around $79. But I sort of thought I'd err on the side of caution and round everything up just to be fair. So, I think that's definitely, whether you're on your own or you need to fit this in, hopefully around the family, there are some options there that are going to fit for you so that you can get started and just take action in some way. Because, you don't have to do it perfectly, but if you want to improve your health and you want to take action and you're using cost as your excuse, hopefully this shows you that actually there are things that you can do. There are choices out there. You just have to be organized and, of course, know what they are. Well, after tonight, you've got a few good options there. And I want to finish the food part by telling you about a primo option. And I had a client last year who I was seeing for free because this person really did not have any money. And this was a recipe which I made for her, and she loved it, and it really helped her stay on track with her weight loss. So it's so easy, right? But this is a perfect weight loss meal. If you look at the macronutrients here, one bowl of this soup is going to give you 18 grams of protein, 20 grams of fat, and 300 calories, which is a really nice level for a breakfast or lunch type meal. Not for dinner, you'd probably need a few more calories. You could have 2 servings of it, but it was just simply made using these 4 ingredients. Boiling up a chicken, adding some stock, really easy. Putting the cream, there's your healthy fats there, and then whacking in some mixed veggies. It doesn't get any easier than that. I mean, if you had some fresh veggies that you'd got, for cheap, well, then great, add those as well. But this made 15 serves. She loved it. And just by making this up in bulk and having it as that quick lunch or dinner meal really helped her, because this was all she could actually do. This and eggs, like we were really limited with options. But by having this soup, it helped her. She ended up losing about 10 kilos. So I was so happy for her, and really happy to see that by keeping things incredibly simple, and for her being willing to, be a little bit repetitive, because she literally didn't have much of a choice, but she still achieved her goal. So she was really thrilled. And that was a huge win for me, to be able to partner with her in that. Okay. So I'll just finish off in terms of this part of the presentation, just by really encouraging you. Like I said in the beginning, if you are passionate about your health and you are really looking for a solution that's sustainable, I just really encourage you to give low carb a go and explore some of these options, because it really does matter. It matters because our health matters, and it matters more now than ever before, because we don't want to go getting sick and ending up in the healthcare system in this country, right? And I'm not saying that just by simply eating more meat is going to stop anyone getting sick, of course. But coming back to that topic of inflammation, we know that if you can keep your food real, get your blood sugars balanced, and lose weight, because extra weight leads to extra inflammation as well, you're going to be taking great action in terms of your health. And it is going to be helping you from hopefully avoiding needing to go to the hospital. Because as I've said, in a time like now where cost is more important than ever before, so is our health and your immune system. People keep talking about, everyone's getting sick at the moment. And I know there are lots of germs going around, but we're not really taught about how to support our immune system naturally. And eating protein is a huge part of that. So if you can embrace some of these principles, I know it's going to really be helpful for you as you move forward. Now, talking about moving forward, I just want to take a minute before we finish. I just want to tell you about my program. I promise this is going to take 2 minutes. I will not go on about it, but I just wanted to share my online program, because I have a membership option that really is the best value you can get. And I've done that because I want to make weight loss affordable. I know that now a lot of people cannot afford to see a coach or to come for an appointment. I totally understand that. But because I have an online program, it's given me the ability to create an option that's far more cost effective. And it really is good if you just want a plan to follow, because you don't want to have to think about it yourself. And you want to make sure you can keep seeing results, but you need someone to help give you suggestions. Because in my program, every month I send out a new strategy. And if you like fresh ideas, then this is really helpful too, because I've got a whole lot of recipes there, all low carb, of course. So with my program, you get the foundation food plan. So you know exactly how much protein you should be having, how much fat, lots of recipes. You get a fully structured plan. And as I've said, I give out a new strategy every month. And I've got a whole lot of recipes there. I actually pay someone to make a recipe for me. She's one of my members and she loves food. So she creates a new recipe every week that's based on New Zealand food, really simple, easy, simple ingredients. So that's all on there, as well as all of my templates for planning and mindset. I send out weekly and daily emails to help keep their head in the game. I do a lot of work on mindset just to help people stay on track, because that's a big part of this journey. And the membership to my program, what I did a few months ago was create a membership, which is literally just $19 for a whole month of access to everything. And I've done that, as I've said, because I have the resources to be able to do that. And it just means that there's an option that's affordable. And for that, you get everything: the website, the weight loss strategy, the weekly email, my private Facebook group, everything you're going to need to have that plan to get going. Now, if you also want access to accountability with me, there is the accountability membership, which also includes all of that stuff, including Zoom calls each week. So you can actually connect with me and ask questions. We've also got a WhatsApp group. So that is more suitable if you know you want to be able to talk things through and get that one-on-one support. So that's more expensive, but it gives more one-on-one opportunities. The Academy is actually closing on the 1st of June. So if you're interested and you want to get on board, it'll pay to do that pretty quickly, because I'm going to close on the 1st of June and have the doors shut until September, because I just want to really support the new people who have come on board and help them get going. We're going to hibernate for the winter, basically, so we can emerge in spring feeling fantastic. I've also got a bonus, actually, because of a presentation I did last month, which includes a detox program, a reset, and a 21-day guided fasting plan. So they're all sitting on the website as well for everyone to have a look at. And here are just some quotes, some lovely testimonials from people who have been in the program. I've been doing it for 3 years now, so I've had some really awesome results with women. And this one was really special. I just met Esty. She joined the program just over a year ago, and we'd never met. I'd only ever seen her on a Zoom call. And then I bumped into her at Keto by D Cafe, and she's lost 20 kilos. I looked at her and I thought, you look familiar, but you look different. And she's just been doing the online program, all the resources, and it's helped her get 20 kilos off. So that was a real thrill. So yeah, online works. It does. It really helps just give you the ideas and the accountability to stay on track. It's boring doing this on your own. So look, if you're interested, I'll email out a link if you want to know more about that, and it's on my website as well.